What's up, everybody? You are tuned into The Output with DJ Unprotected, featuring me as your host, DJ Unprotected. This is a podcast focused on pop culture, the entertainment industry, music, and fun segments to make you feel better about yourselves. That's right. So if you've been enjoying this show, we're 11 episodes deep now, and you appreciate the content, please do me a favor, hit the like button, subscribe, and show this podcast some love. I mean, seriously, no matter where you listen, it could be Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Pandora, checking us out on YouTube, etc. Either way, a like equals a whole lot of love, and we appreciate you guys showing us love in that form because it makes us feel like we are presenting you a show that you enjoy, and me, the host, I kind of know what I need to continue to do to make sure that I can continue to entertain you guys, all right? Also, if there's a option to rate this thing, like Apple Podcasts offers the opportunity to, give it some stars. Well, look, I'll be honest with you. I don't think I got enough stars as a kid. So if you want to hook it up, if the podcast is worth 3 stars, vote it 3 stars. If it's worth 5, then hit 5, baby. All I'm asking you to do is just let us know, man. Show us some love. I'll show you love back. You know what? You put in a comment who you are, hit me up on Twitter and say, hey, I rated your podcast. I'll shout you out all day. Because you know what? No matter what, it really is a great opportunity to spend this time and chop it up with you all. And I mean that. And here's why. Because coronavirus absolutely ruined my social life, just like everyone else's. But I spent some time doing like this parody video about it. You can find it. I posted it on my Instagram and also on my DJ Unprotected YouTube channel. But the truth is, I only get to communicate with people while at work or, over the phone with family members, coworkers, whatever. So, in essence, whatever topics, subjects, or life type things that pop up in the week, I bring them up here. It's an opportunity for me to talk, share it, whatever, okay? And you know what? It doesn't have to be a one-way conversation because I'm pretty active on Twitter, and so I invite you to hit me up on Twitter at DJ Unprotected. Send me your memes because I love sharing memes with my friends. I'm on some pretty awesome Facebook groups that definitely cross some lines when it comes to the type of memes that get posted. Or send me some pics of lace shorts because honestly, okay, not in a weird way, all right, I'm not looking at those type of pictures, but I still can't find a pair of lace shorts, and I'm trying to rock them before summer ends. And, well, here in Texas, we've got till at least like September or something to rock shorts because it's hotter than the devil's ass here right now. So definitely plenty of time to do that. But all I'm saying is let's tweet it up, hit me up. We can talk. I'll shout you out. I promise I will. I'll even bring you up on the podcast. Who knows? Hit me up though, all right? At DJ Unprotected. It's funny too. Like this brings me back. So I remember in 2010, there was a song called Follow Me on Twitter by DJ Webstar. And I love this track. I mean, I played it every single time I was DJing. When I was in Anchorage, Alaska at that time, I was DJing at this place called The Woodshed. It's no longer open. It shut down, but every time I DJ'd on the weekends, I would play Follow Me on Twitter. Now it wasn't a hit track, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I think that just because the verses kind of like lacked the type of energy that could really like rock a dance floor. So I would always play it in the beginning of my sets, like at 9:30, 10. Well, it depends. If I started at 10, then I'd probably play it before 11 o'clock while people were getting drinks or what have you. But it was a cool track, man. I mean, shit was fire. Like, the hook, catchy. I mean, it had a catchy tune. Like, I don't know, it had me singing. And so, anyway, what I'll do is I'll share the link to that song on the YouTube video description, just so you can understand what I'm talking about. The song was cool, man. Follow me on Twitter. Ah, man. Just tell me not to do that again. That's cool. So, wow, talk about a little nostalgia. You know what? Music's beautiful about that. Like, you can either think of like a certain situation in life and it reminds you of a song, or you can think of a song and it reminds you of a a point or a situation, event that happened in your life. It's pretty neat how those two always end up matching up somehow. All right, so let's roll into this thing. We are pumping through. So in this episode, some of the topics you can expect. Okay, we're going to talk about the industry, how I still disagree with artists trying to create live shows while the world is in a pandemic. Also going to talk about if TikTok gets canceled, right? Kind of a big if, pending Microsoft. What's next for artists and for your Zoom time entertainment, your bathroom entertainment, whatever. But TikTok has been a pretty big deal, so I feel like this is worth the conversation. Now, another topic we're going to talk about is dating in a pandemic, okay? This is a topic that I've talked about quite a bit in this series, at least several episodes so far. In episode 8, I know I talked about it, and then there was a couple others too. So I think it matters. And what we're going to do this time, though, is a little different. I'm going to walk you through a virtual date, in case you're interested. Probably are, especially all of you in a LTR, married, whatever. I know that you're curious, what happens now? Even prior to the pandemic, right? I had, my married friends, coworkers, whatever, people with had families would always be like, man, I wouldn't even know what to do in today's dating game. And yeah, I don't even know if people know what to do now, but we're going to cover a virtual date process, and who knows, be a funny story. Maybe, maybe not, okay? But we're going to keep it cool, because why not? Also, okay, following that, we're going to talk about some sports. Now, I am not like a sports junkie, okay? I don't know everything about the best lineups to have during fantasy seasons, or, who's rated to go to what playoff season. No, but what I am good at is drinking beer, watching games, having fun, and talking shit in my fantasy football leagues. So right around the corner is fantasy football. So we're going to talk about that, specifically how I haven't even paid my buy-in yet to my league, but I'm pretty sure that money's gone. Unless, okay, I've been seeking advice from the Lisa Ann podcast, or I think it's the Lisa Ann Experience. It's on Sirius, but you can find it anywhere podcasts are. I just want to see if her advice is effective, but there'll be more details on that later. And then finishing up sports, we're going to cover baseball. This season feels more like spring training, but I got a couple things to talk about. All right, and then following it up, the last topic of this episode is going to be one of my favorites, food. And I'm definitely talking about this because for the past 5 weeks, I've mentioned that I got into a workout program, so I canceled my gym membership and bought this, it's called the X3 bar. I saw so many ads on Facebook about it. I can't even imagine their marketing expense, but it's got to be working because they got a Facebook group of people who have purchased this product of 20,000 plus, and that's just people who joined the Facebook group. So anyway, why am I talking about food? Well, because I significantly cut out carbs out of my diet. The only carbs that I have during the day are oats in the morning and broccoli, because I'm weird and I actually like that stuff. Now, as you probably see on my Instagram every Friday, it's Pizza Friday, man. I love pizza, so obviously I do sneak in some pizza. So in this food topic, we're going to discuss the ins and outs of pizza, what makes a good pizza and why do so many places try to say New York style pizza, okay? I'm from New York, and we're going to chat that up. Another thing, why oat milk is weird and delicious at the same time. You're talking about a first time experience over here. And finishing it up with some nut butter. That's right. So it's a very interesting show. We got quite a bit of topics to cover and the conversations, and I think that we are going to roll right into it. Feeling good here in August. Like I said, it's hot in Texas. I think my AC is hanging out at 72. Now, I'm curious, what do you guys like your AC at? Because you always see those memes and people are at 70 degrees, they look like the sweaty James Brown. Okay. Or there's people who are like, yo, 68 or don't come through my door. Like, that's crazy. Like, man, I couldn't imagine. But it's funny because in the summer, you may, like, you just put the AC like 75, right? Or 72, whatever. Maybe you do 70 degrees, right? And you're trying to get it colder. But in the winter, you're like, it's the opposite. Like 70 degrees is cold. If it's 68, 70, like you're putting on a hoodie and you're like, yo, I think I'm going to have to adjust this thermostat. So I don't know, man. It's weird. But I will tell you, I definitely sleep better when it's cold. Okay, squirrel, what's up? All right, first topic, music industry. Look, for real, artists need to chill out with seeking these opportunities to host live shows for their fans to come in person. Like, I don't get it. You know what? Like, stream whatever you got and step up your merchandise game if you're an artist and you're struggling with cash. Because, yes, the music industry has taken a hit. Streaming went down because not a lot of people were driving, right? And obviously, like, all the festivals and live shows got canceled. And look, man, I'm not a hater. Like, I had a half a dozen DJ gigs get canceled, man. I felt the sting of this thing too, right? But you got to find alternatives, man. Think about safety. So, like, get on YouTube, show some behind the scenes production techniques. There's this really, I know you guys have heard of Disclosure. And if you haven't, they've had, like, he's created great songs. I don't know if it's two guys or just one guy. Like, honestly, I haven't done that much research on them. But I will say that I enjoy their music. It always sounds like pretty good. It's groovy. Sometimes they toss like a disco vibe in there and they usually have nice piano riffs. But like, this dude shows live streaming of him in the studio, making beats from beginning to end. And he live streams it on Twitch, but then posts that video on YouTube, like an hour long, 2 hour long production video of you producing in a studio. Like, your fans are going to enjoy seeing that. And so that alone, like, you do some of those, you can do the math. Like, you're going to get your 4,000 hours of views, which is what, like 240,000 minutes, watched minutes a year. Now, YouTube's metrics, you can hit that number within several weeks, and that counts for the year as long as it's within the last 12 months. So you build upon that, like, you start monetizing off YouTube. And honestly, YouTube's not going anywhere. So I think, like, YouTube for artists, obviously for creators, but for artists, musicians, like, it is a great opportunity for residual income, that extra money, because you're not going to make shit off of streaming. But I do think that you can make more off of, like, the monetization from YouTube. I mean, there are people who get, like, half a million views or whatever off their own channel. They're reviewing products. They're making millions a year. Like, and I'm not going to say that it doesn't take a lot of work. I'm sure it took them a while to get to that point, but still, like, artists have the opportunity. So if you have the fan base of thousands, like, then just start recording you in the studio, and it's going to expand. And I bet you, like, you could start hitting your number counts, especially if you're independent and you're not paying record labels, profitable things from, like, you being on YouTube or whatnot. Now, obviously that all depends too, but I'm just saying, like, there's other ways to make money and as an artist during this time. And I just think that, like, I'm not trying to get in the argument of, is the pandemic real? Is it not real? Look at the numbers, whatever. Like, but the truth is, like, people are getting sick, and that they've gotten sick from these large crowds, from live music, etc. And I think until people have a conversation with someone they know who's had their life impacted because someone got sick from this virus, then I think it changes perspective. But that's not it. I'm just saying from the standpoint of knowing that people can get sick from something and then creating an environment that's going to bring people together for that to happen. Like, I don't know, it doesn't, I just would say, like, it's frustrating to see artists doing call outs on social media, and I'm not going to mention any because I'm not here to specifically point fingers, but man, it's like, just chill out, find another way to put on a show or something, like do the live streaming, or whatever. Like, kick your merchandise game up. Like, because, that's, I mean, that's my approach to this. Like, think of other people in this aspect, okay? But I'm not being a hater. Do what you got to do. I'm just saying, like, it's frustrating to see that you would still pursue this. But anyway, no point beating that dead horse, because I know I've talked about this in, was it episode 10? Oh, no, it wasn't 10. It was 8. That's right. So episode 8, we talked about it. I think it was 8. Man. See, like, this is 11, and it's a good thing that they're all bleeding together, because this thing's just going to keep growing. All right. Okay, so speaking of video content, let's talk about TikTok. Now, one of the first few guests I had on the show was DJ Honeypaws, and she was like she was getting pretty big on TikTok. And I know she like said that she loved the community, and I was involved with TikTok a little bit, like got on there. I did some like fun production roulette where I would sit there and go through like my archive of production songs and kind of see, you know, kind of see like an old track maybe from like 2015, 2016 and just push play. Like it could have been an old idea that I started and, thought it was dope at the time and then didn't. But anyway, so that was like kind of my history of being on TikTok. But if it gets banned, like what's next for viral videos, your toilet time needs, your, short-term entertainment while you're waiting for a meeting to start or you're bored in a meeting? I don't know. Like, we'll see what happens because, we'll see. Like, it's kind of an if, right? Because obviously, like, Microsoft may swoop in and purchase TikTok in the last second to save the day. Like, who knows? It's a big move. Hold on a second. I've got to get some water. You know me, it's that peppermint aqua, baby. It's funny. I was listening to a few other podcasts this week. There's a couple that I enjoy following. You never hear them like get a drink of water. So I don't know if they edited it out after the fact. They got to be thirsty. And why wouldn't you not tell your audience, like, hey guys, you're going to hear 5 seconds of silence real quick as I sip on this tumbler. Like, I don't know. I think it's important to vocalize, but they probably edited it out. And so thing about me, man, editing podcasts like that, like, searching through, clearing out bad words and whatever, like, man, that just takes a lot of time because if it's an hour-long podcast, you're looking at probably like 2 hours of editing to super clean it up like that. Now, I do kind of spot sweeping. I make sure that there's no clicks, pops, all that crazy stuff, do some audio magic on it. But yeah, so anyway, you guys will forever hear me grab my tumbler of water. All right. So anyway, back to this whole TikTok situation. Like, I think it's really interesting to see what happens if it gets banned. But like I was saying, it's a big move if Microsoft purchases this thing. And as a company, right, like they need to consider if TikTok is a long game play. Now, that's a question like worth thinking about. Because I think that some of these entertainment apps, like, and by entertainment, I mean like these things that maybe they don't have a proprietary, type of, license on their certain processes of how they run things, right? Like another company could integrate something similar into their platform and then boom, then you get washed out. Like, so if you think about like what happened to Vine, you guys remember Vine? Like, I remember making videos for Vine. Like, you could do those short clips of like create little comedy things, or it was basically kind of like, what TikTok is and the other Instagram stories and things like that. But I was in it in 2011 and I don't remember seeing much since. Like, there's a few comedians who came out of that app from Vine. One woman named Brittany something. Anyway, she was funny. I'm pretty sure it was Brittany. Like I said, it's been a while since I've seen it, but she was funny to watch because she loved playing the obsessed or annoying girlfriend. So like that was just cool to watch because her boyfriend probably just had to deal with it. I don't even know if it was her real boyfriend, but anyway, yeah, like short-term money-making thing. Like, what is TikTok long-term? Like 5 years from now, will TikTok be the same? Because there are some alternatives to, getting some of that viral video limelight, right? And I'm going to talk about a few. So let's see, like Triller is one that's a top video editing quick tool that kind of lets artists and creators create quick music videos and stuff like that. Now, I think Kevin Hart has been active on it, Selena Gomez. So if you don't have Triller, that's Triller, like consider getting that as your, new form of entertainment if TikTok gets whacked. Like I know some artists use Triller to like do some quick home video style music videos. So Triller's one. The other thing, IG came out with this new whatever shindig they got in their app called IG Reels. That's Reels, right? Like, tape reel, whatever, which is the new hit to the market. It's the new, like the new to hit the market. To be right now, like that new, the IG Reels, like the cool kids are posting the IG Reels. And it's basically a 15-second clip to get your fans and friends excited, keep you entertained, right? But here's the thing. That's Instagram using their system, okay? So their stories, right, their video clips that you can put on your story has a 15-second limit, right? So I know this from posting advertisements when I post like from my advertising account to like promote new music and stuff, that 15 seconds is kind of their recommended time frame because anything over that, it overlaps and then goes into the next video clip. So if you post a 19-second video, you get 15 seconds of the clip and then real quick 4 seconds to follow right after it. So it's interesting, but so they kept these IG Reels at 15 seconds flat. Probably so if you share that video to your live or your stories, like there's no issue. It's already an integrated time frame and you're not going to fuck up the flow of your fans watching what you're doing. So those are like, I don't know, a couple quick alternatives if TikTok gets whacked, but who knows? I mean, I'm about to be on Triller, get my Trill on. If Unprotected's available, that's going to be my username, so we'll see. But anyway, that's like what's hot in the music industry. I mean, I talked about WAP last week. Is it WAP? WAP? I think I've said it 2 different ways, and honestly, it doesn't matter. I'm sure you guys have seen that music video. If you haven't, wild stuff. But hey, more power to those women, all right? Speaking of women, or however you roll, we're going to cruise into dating next. Now, funny story. So back in June, I reached out to this relationship coach because I used to be a part of like this. It was a meetup group of like just social whatever, like singles or, people involved in like music or networking scenes. I was in that group because it would be cool. Like you would go like bowling or, whatever, like go to a meet and greet, hang out with people. Well, one of the contacts from that is a like relationship coach, life coach, whatever. And so I scheduled time with her because, why not? COVID wasn't partying. So I was like, this could be an interesting opportunity. And I think anytime you talk with someone about kind of who you are or whatever, like you learn more about yourself, right? When you start talking about, your thoughts on maybe decisions you make in a relationship. But I think it's a way of like learning more about yourself when someone's like, hey, how did that make you feel? Or, what was your expectation in that situation with so-and-so? Or when you're dating, what are you looking for in that? Or when you first meet somebody, what is one of the first things you notice? And then what's a quality that makes you happy in somebody? And I think when you start defining those type of things, right? Nobody ever like sits down. I mean, I don't mean to say nobody ever, but I'm just saying like it's rare for people to sit down with a pen and paper and be like, I'm going to start breaking things out. Like when I meet someone new, what are qualities that they have that I really look for and appreciate in somebody? And it's not just saying, hey, I like exciting people, but like, is it someone who is positive to the majority of reactions that they have? Or is it someone who's very intrigued or interested in the things you say? Or do they smile more than their frown? Or is their first response to like a deep sigh and they're kind of like show signs of defeat? or are they like excited or embrace opportunities? Like everyone can look for different things. Um, what's their laugh like? If you're an auditory type of person and you care about how things sound, like probably you're going to care about someone's voice or whatnot. So I think it's cool, and it's almost like going to therapy or whatever when you talk to someone who really gets you to think about your perspective. Because sometimes those aren't easy questions to answer, right? Like, hey, what is your favorite quality in somebody? I don't know. I like people who aren't assholes. I like someone who's gonna laugh and whatever. But I think there's a deeper sense than that. Okay, so it was funny after we talked. We had an hour-long session. We were talking about like my life goals and things and my attitude and blah blah blah. So here are some some things that she had told me. Okay, that I thought was like interesting. She said, first thing, she said, I'm a middle-aged divorcee's dream. Okay. Maybe that's the, I don't know, fun attitude or whatnot. But I do want to say this, like the relationship coach is an absolute wonderful counselor, and I totally want to book another session with her. So I'm not bringing this stuff up. Like my intent isn't to be like, she was crazy for the things she said. I think that her insight was awesome. And I'm just bringing up these entertaining points to you. Like I said, like we keep these segments fun, okay? But these are true of what she said. So, middle-aged divorcee's dream. Not sure what that is, but if you think you do, hit me up, okay? I'm an easy escape and maybe a short-term escape. Also, that I should probably pursue finding someone in an open relationship for the best results. Now, I don't know what that is. Like, maybe it could have been because of, that, like I said, it was a couple months ago. Maybe that spawns off of like the whole my own commitment level, or because I'm so passionate about like my music business and things like that. I don't know, but that was interesting. And then I asked her, I was like, well, how do you find people in an open relationship? If that's the case, I mean, that's not really something I'm looking for. But for the sake of a conversation and I'm paying for an hourly rate, like, why not learn some new shit in this process? And so I guess there's like different apps, or there's groups on like Reddit or local groups that I guess you can try to go be someone's unicorn, or I don't know, like you just go and it's an uncommitted thing. Like it was an interesting perspective. Never thought about it. Like I said, not really. Like I don't think it's my style, but you know what? For the sake of conversation, there it is. Not judging anyone out there. If you're an open relationship type, like that's cool. I've never experienced it. But so anyway, what else you say? So I think it is like, because of the challenging times right now, the commitment level may be unconfirmed, which is why those things were offered. Again, it was just from a session. So for me, like I'm definitely considering taking on another session to talk through things. Last, relationship I got out of was in February, right before the pandemic, and terrible timing or great timing because I've had all the time in the world now to do things, productive and not upsetting anybody for being too busy. So, but like I said before, man, I think it's a good opportunity to gain insight from someone else, who one is a counselor or relationship coach who obviously has a lot of conversations with people seeking advice or talking about relationships and whatnot. So maybe they connect the dots of the things you say and what they've heard from other people to be like, you know what? Like, man, I've met some really miserable people who were like, hated being in one relationship. They were in an open relationship and they're happy-go-lucky, frolic through the fields type of people. Like, who knows? But yeah, I think the decisions that we make in regards to relationships begin by how we feel deep within ourselves. Like if you're happy within yourself, like I think you're going to find a happy relationship. If there's turmoil within you, you're going to create turmoil with somebody you're with because insecurities pop out. Like you don't feel good about yourself. You can't, You know what I mean? Like you can't even depend on yourself for feeling good. So now you're relying on somebody else all the time. So I think that's step one is like how you feel deep within, like identifying happiness, knowing that like your relationship goals are to find love, to really care for somebody, to enjoy life. Maybe it's, added travel goals, to experience new things with somebody, like whatever those experiences may be. Like I think once you can define and feel that within, but if you're trying to fill a void of like, man, I just don't feel good about myself, I need to be in a relationship, like I think there could be some problems with that. Not saying that like, yeah, I think people do naturally fill gaps with each other. Relationships are kind of like a zipper, life, both lives like come together and then there's happiness and there's, things sync up and it's great. But I think it's important to deal within because, man, when people have insecurities, like we all got them, but it's when they can't be like defined or figured out, then I think it becomes an issue because trust is a factor and then people don't feel like they're valued in a relationship. And here we go. Like I'm not a relationship coach at all, but these are things that I've had in conversations. And so that's what I'm gaining and learning from all of this. And we'll see. But, that's that. Like, I think it's interesting. I will totally sign up for another session to chop it up to see. But I feel like I should try to date some more, even if it's the virtual dating. Just because, like, I don't know, it's like part of the conversation. When you meet somebody new, weird situation, like a virtual date, like, yeah, you learn about yourself. Are you bullshitting through small talk? So, okay, then let's just go with this. Let's talk about virtual dates because that's pretty much what you get now, unless you take a risk with somebody and go out to get dinner or coffee or whatnot. I think it's a little awkward in the midst of a pandemic until you really kind of get to know somebody first over the phone. Like, I mean, I don't know. You roll up. Are you going to judge them for wearing a mask, for not wearing a mask? Like, who knows? So anyway, virtual date walkthrough, like this is the driving force of how people are getting to know each other now who are on the dating scene. These are all your people on Twitter and, oh, Jesus, I said Twitter. My bad. I meant Tinder. But that's because a few episodes ago, I was bashing Tinder because I feel like they want you to stay on the app. They want you to pay $45 a month, stay with them for a whole year so they can bank off of you. Like Tinder is not a relationship app. And I used to defend it when people would be like, oh, Tinder's just a hookup app. And I used to be like, no, that's not it. Like it's not. It doesn't have to be that way. It is a hookup app because there is nothing about that promotes people getting in a relationship. It just doesn't. And also, okay, I'm going to add this in there. Hinge doesn't know shit about a perfect match at all. That's all I'm going to say about that. They got to tighten up that algorithm. Okay, so virtual date walkthrough as I quickly grab some peppermint oil water. It is hot in here. Like maybe I should put my AC on like 68, not 72. What do you guys like your thermostat at? I'm curious. If you say 65, man, I don't even want to know what your energy bill looks like. Crazy. Okay, virtual date walkthrough. So how it works, you start chatting with somebody, okay, and then you're like, hey, listen, like, do you want to have a virtual dinner or virtual drinks? Like, I'm not looking for a pen pal. I don't know. There's different ways to create the plug. I think if people are interested or you're talking for longer than like 5 to 10 message exchanges and like valuable message exchanges, not just, hey, how was your day? Good. And yours? Do some shit like that 5 times. Like, no, like, I think that some more work needs to be put in as far as like the type of questions that get asked. Like, hey, what fun activities did you get involved in this weekend? And someone's response is like, oh, it was great. Friday, blah, blah, blah. I was like roasting marshmallows in my chimney on my back porch. And then Saturday, it was cool. Like, ran into an old friend. So we went, hiking at this state park. And then Sunday is kind of a chill day, How about you? Like, what were you up to? Did you do this thing that you said you're interested in? Like, that is a meaningful message. 5 of those, I think you set it up. So whatever, you can, whatever it takes to get there, but you set a time, right? FaceTime or, I guess a Zoom. If you both don't have iPhone, you can do like a Google chat or something, or was it a Google video, Google Meet? But anyway, you set that up, then you both like eat the same thing or drink the same thing like over the video just to have that, kind of rapport. Hey, how's your pizza? Hey, what type of sushi did you get? That type of thing. So now you're both kind of eating, enjoying the same meal, drinking. But here's the thing, like it always starts off with small talk. Man, it's the bullshit. Hey, how was work? Like, what were you up to? How was your week? How are you handling this quarantine? Have you seen the negative impacts? Do you think it's ridiculous? What do you do in your spare time? Are you losing your mind? What shows have you binged? Do you feel like you're wasting your life on a couch? All those things get asked. And it starts to get boring after a while, honestly, because so you start that, then finally you get to eating, but you're trying to eat, but you're like talking the whole time and you're trying to determine like if you're actually interested in this person, okay? And so I've thought this, right? Like after my last virtual date, which was like, I think like a couple months ago, is why not do something interesting like a trivia game? Like I want to play like figure out the missing ingredient. And they're going to be like, what the hell is that game? Be like, well, okay. It's a way to test out somebody's cooking skills, I guess. But say it's like, hey, you've got pasta and chicken. Like, what are you missing? And then you see what they say. Like, I don't know, could be like cream of mushroom or something, or you're missing certain type of sauce or whatever. But I think it keeps it interesting. I love to talk about food. Like that could be fun. Like cookies. Like, hey, you've got your cookie batter and your cookie sheet. What are you missing? Now, hopefully they come through and say like Hershey Kisses or some chocolate chips or maybe some raisins, because, some plain ass cookies, but something cool, like, or you got sprinkles. I think it's a way to test like how much fun somebody can be. I don't know, like maybe they come up with a cool response. Like you do the cookie thing and they're like, man, I definitely got some rainbow sprinkles and then some chocolate sprinkles just to change it up. And then I'm going to top it off with some M&Ms so that they can melt and like colorful the cookie. I'd be like, cool. Like that is what's up. That's the type of person that I want to hang out with. Really spice up some baking game or the food game. You know what I'm saying? But like, wouldn't that be interesting? Like to me, that sounds fun and interesting. Like would be a fun type of way to get to know somebody instead of like the small talk that happens. And then you're like, oh, and then here's the other thing with the virtual dates. So depending on how your internet connection is, mine's pretty good. The issue I have is like video calls and stuff, like because I go through a VPN, sometimes it's like after a while it starts to looks like 56K. But if I just turn it off and go off for cell network on the phone or whatnot, that type of thing, that works. But that's the other thing is like all of a sudden, like sometimes it gets jumbled and then you get the, hey, sorry, couldn't hear what you said. Oh, hey, you broke up again. Oh, hey, what'd you say? I don't know. Like, man, sometimes things like that, like mess up the conversation for me. Am I crazy? You guys think I'm crazy? Like, do you feel that way? I think like after 1 or 2 times of me telling someone like, hey, you're breaking up, like I think it just becomes like an annoying part of the conversation and maybe not even on my end, but for them it's annoying. I don't know. You guys tell me. I think like it can be. So anyway, but you run into that, like you deal with it. Like, so I'm turning my Wi-Fi on and off and, sometimes their face is jumbled, like mid snack, mid bite into like a pizza or sushi roll. And then, you just have that rocky face imprinted on your screen and shit. They probably see the same thing of me on the other end, Take a drink of my beer, slow motion, your eyes are like kind of closing, bottle to the mouth. Yeah, virtual dates are weird, man. But hey, it's a good experience, and we can talk about it here. So I need to land another one. Step up my Tinder, Hinge, or whatever else game. All right. So that's dating, right? Virtual dating. So, hope it keeps all you people in LTRs happy. You guys know what LTR stands for? Well, if you don't, hit me up on Twitter. LTR is long-term relationship, and you're welcome. Maybe it's common, maybe it's not. I don't know. You see that in people's profiles. Needing LTR, LTR only, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, that's the dating advice right now in the middle of a pandemic. Ugh. Okay, rolling into sports, man. Here's the fantasy that's kind of fun and definitely a lot more entertaining than the dating scene right now. Fantasy football. We're going to talk about this one first. I'm in a league and I'm not sure what to do. Okay, other than talking shit to everybody else in the league, like I know how to do that. But like, what do you do? Like by this date in previous seasons, I've already had 100, at least 100 mock drafts under my belt. Okay, I've printed off draft sheets. I've been reviewing how, preseason was going, what the training camp was like, who are the QBs favoring type of thing, like who's the projected big dogs of the season, how someone's injuries are recovering. Dude, all that research I was doing. Like I got this fantasy football for dummies book. And usually springtime through August, like I read it, I start to create a game plan of how I'm going to do that season. Now, looking at my analysis from how I played last season, okay, I didn't do too bad. I think I came like 4th or 5th, which wasn't bad because I was getting my ass kicked in the beginning of the season, like pretty bad. And then I started to recover a bit because I went with the zero running back, zero running back strategy. So I didn't like draft a running back until I think like the 4th round, 4th or 5th round. I went with three wide receivers off the jump, and then I got one. So I think it fared all right because here's the thing that happens: like it's a point per reception league. Yeah, running backs are going to get hurt. You can switch them around, but man, like if you only have 1 or 2 good wide receivers and one of them gets hurt, like you are in some serious trouble. So anyway, like with this COVID-19 situation, I'm not sure what to do. And so I'm like seeking advice, listening to podcasts. But interestingly enough, I came across the Lisa Ann Experience on Sirius. And obviously, like her podcast is on like Spotify, everywhere else, but sponsored by Sirius. Or it's hosted by them. But it's definitely interesting. So Lisa Ann has this podcast and she talks about everything on it, but definitely a lot about sports. And right now she is like heavily involved. So why am I listening to her show? Okay, you guys all know Lisa Ann is a adult film star, right? So why am I listening to her? Well, she said, I listened to her podcast the past few weeks. Like she listens to 6 hours of fantasy football news and podcasts and updates every day. I can trust somebody who says that because I definitely don't have 6 hours a day to do that. Like I'm too busy with other things to listen and pay attention to all that jazz. Like I don't. So I want to hear like what someone like that has to say. I was listening to a couple other sports podcasts, but without these preseason games, man, everyone's just going off of like last year's statistics and Brady's situation and all that jazz. So, we'll see. But I think that I don't know. I'm hoping, okay, that the insight that she has can drive some of my choices this year, and hopefully they turn out really well. I mean, I don't know. Like, let me ask you this. Are you into sports? Because, all right, so let's do this. I'm going to run through and discuss some of my hot picks for this season. Now, these all are within like top 5, top 10 of like a lot of rankings. So chances are like I may just be able to get 1 or 2 of them. Depends on like my draft order. But, thinking of things, okay, so here's my hot picks for this season. So for QB, I would like really try to get like Lamar Jackson or Patrick Mahomes. Now, depending on draft order, all right, I can settle for someone else later on in the rounds. But here's the thing. Historically, okay, and I think this is my fourth fantasy football season. No, this will be my fifth. So in the past four seasons, like I was only I wasn't drafting a quarterback until like the eighth or ninth, like at least the sixth round, but mostly the eighth or ninth round. Last year I didn't draft a QB until what the 12th round. I got like Jameis Winston or something. So I usually don't pick them up till late. Obviously, like if I'm looking for, so here's my top picks. Yeah, Lamar Jackson or Patrick Mahomes. Like I'm gonna have to grab them like first round or something, like without a doubt. If that's an option, they'll probably get swooped up quickly. So we'd have to see, but that's would be like a dream pick. So here's my dream thoughts of like what I would like to grab. Okay, so for running backs, I'd like to get Alvin Kamara because I think he's dependable. He's going to get a lot of handle on that ball, or Aaron Jones. I really feel like the Green Bay Packers are going to use the shit out of him again. Absolutely, because it started to work pretty well last year. They were, focusing a lot on him throughout the season. And so, we'll see. So those are kind of what I'm looking at for a running back. Wide receivers, Michael Thomas, I had him 3 seasons ago. Dude's solid. I like him. He's going to get a lot of looks. Devontae Adams is going to get tons of looks from Rodgers for sure. And then you got Chris Goodwin and Galladay. Now, Galladay I had last year, and he was a solid pick. He was great. So they're going to get a lot of looks by their QBs. And I think they're going to be solid. But again, like, man, going to hit the books with the research or try to watch some like video clips or something. I know that teams are practicing. They're wearing pads. They're hitting each other. So we're going to have to see, like, do some research to see, like, what top 20 or 30 of these positions is going to look like and make some decisions here. Now, defense and kickers. Honestly, I don't give a shit about either of these until the last few rounds. And potentially sometimes I don't even pick up a defense in the first, in the draft. I usually fill up everything else and then maybe grab it off of the waiver wire or something before week one, because here's the thing, like my D's, they get passed around like as bye weeks hit. So who cares? Like I don't plan to keep 2 defenses and rotating. I'm like, dude, bump that noise, man. I'm trying to like whatever, like focus more on the wide receivers and running backs. So that's usually my play. And then as far as kickers, dude, honestly, as long as Cody Parkey stays off of the list, like I'll be good. Like, look, man, hey, Cody Parkey, listen, not hating on you. Keep, never give up, fam, and keep up the faith, all right? But honestly, okay, I was dying when that kick happened, by the way. So I'm a Green Bay Packers fan. And to see the Bears have their hearts ripped out, literally, and their mascot hit the floor in disbelief when he missed the kick to win it. Like, it was a 3-point. Like, if he would have made that, they would have won the playoff. And to see them lose that, like, holy shit, that was crazy. It's just like the Bear luck. And like, that's why being a sports fan is exciting, because when your team doesn't make it, mine being the Packers, like that year, we had lost, like, I don't even think we had a shot going into the playoffs. It was just that down season. That was the season, I think, when Aaron Rodgers hurt himself. And so when your team, their rival team ends up losing in the playoffs because of something like a kick or a stupid play, like, it makes you feel good. And so it was, that's how it happened. I definitely got drunk that night in excitement. It was definitely Miller time. And it was interesting. So, yeah, that's the beautiful thing about sports. So, yeah, fantasy football. So I'm going to keep listening to the Lisa Ann Experience podcast, see what she's got to say, and hopefully I make some good decisions. I mean, what do you guys think about my kind of top selections? Maybe next week I'll come up with some more. I will see. I mean, I think a lot of people, even if you're not a diehard sports fan, like some random people will get into a fantasy football league and kick some ass. So we'll see. This could be my year. I'm going to re-hit that book. So I need a fantasy football for dummies. Okay, but I need the COVID or the pandemic version, like the update. I need the new edition. That's what I need to like step my game up, different strategy, because I feel like right now I'm shooting in the dark. All right. So that's football. Here's baseball, okay? My team, I know I'm all over the place. Like, you ever want to know what my sports team's like? It's just random darts on the map. Grew up in New York, and my favorite baseball team is the Cleveland Indians. Now, cool thing is, Cleveland Indians are second in the Central Division as of yesterday, the 19th of August. They're fifth in the American League and seventh overall. All right. So it's weird to sit here, and here we are in August, and their record is like 15-9. That was like our high school record or something. Something like that. So, playoffs are right around the corner. Fantasy football is right around the corner. Playoffs for baseball are right around the corner, practically here. Honestly, I just don't want to see the Yankees win. And I will forever give props to the Dodgers for holding it down. I mean, that is an organization that it seems like they're doing the right thing. Like, they've got quality leadership in their organization to the point that, like, for the past few seasons, they've been holding it down. Like, they've been consistent. Their bullpen looks good. They got hitters who are consistently getting on base, and their positions, like, know what they're doing, and they've got a solid team, man. They've got leadership. They've got structure. So I like Dodgers. My dad's a Dodgers fan. So we'll see. But, hey, you never know, and you can't sleep on the Twins, okay? Minnesota Twins, they come through, and they could get that American League title. Like, you just never know, okay? So, man, sports is wild right now. It is a coin toss for sure. I mean, we'll just have to see because, when baseball's like long-ass season normally, what is it, like, usually runs from April through September, and then you got October for the playoffs or whatever. So, yeah, it's a long season. You get injuries or whatnot, so everyone's playing with short time frame. They could definitely fully utilize their bullpen as long as nobody gets sick with the coronavirus. And I tell you what, take another drink of water as we run into this last segment on food. Dude, I love food so much. It's probably like, I was always like, when I look at pictures of me as a kid, when I post like my throwback Thursdays, when there's food in front of me in those old pictures, like 1 year old, 2 years old, whatever, I am happy, smiling, like truly love food. Like, food makes me happy. Like, and I think there's a form of happiness behind it. Like, there's a mental happiness behind like food. Now, I'm not talking about the my 600-pound life happiness where those people, it's sad, but they're filling some type of void where they're just like, and they even say like they eat to make themselves feel better. Well, I eat because, man, food is enjoyable. Like, not just making me feel better, but man, it is enjoyable. Like, I absolutely love it. And so, yeah, as I mentioned before, okay, and earlier on, like, I got the workout system, the X3 bar, right? But they came with like a 12-week program, but obviously you would stay on this thing longer than that. But it came with nutritional advice and all that jazz. And a lot of people do like the intermittent fasting. I got into that in February and I saw good results with it. Excuse me, I like it. It's it's not bad. Like, I do the 11 to 7, so the 16 to 8 fast. But I absolutely love food. So I just eat a lot of it within those 8 hours and truly enjoy it. And I've been I cut back the carbs, except for beer and pizza now. Okay, got to be smart about this. I only drink, enjoy the cold beverages on the weekend. It's just goals, I try to take care of other things and take care of myself throughout the week, and then I can enjoy myself a little more on the weekends, right? But I don't want to be throwing down beers all the time, and then you get sick, and then you're really screwed. Like, your body's got no chance to fight anything. So anyway, but Okay, so I love pizza. So if you follow me on Instagram at Unprotected, okay, every Friday it's Pizza Friday. So Pizza Friday is my shiznit. I look forward to it when I'm having a rough time at work on a Tuesday or Wednesday. I look forward to Pizza Fridays. Like pizza is awesome. Okay, so I've tried a couple different pizza shops. I've tried quite a few now here in San Antonio, but I've got a couple go-tos that are absolutely are flawless with the type of pizza that I like. But what makes a good pizza? Now, if you ask anybody that, it just depends, and you can be like, hey, did you go to New York? Do you like their pizza? And some people say, no, I didn't. Or they like the thicker, Chicago style, or man, they like the stuffed crust. Like, who knows? Like, everyone's different. But, you know, what defines a good pizza? Like, we were talking at work about this, and somebody else from New York had mentioned that they appreciate a pizza when you can take a slice and it's not greasy on the bottom. Like, it's dry, like it's still got kind of the cornmeal, powder or whatever, like on the bottom of it, the flour, like, and so yeah, like I can kind of dig that thing, like like a piece of pizza you can fold. Now I'm kind of weird. I like to dip mine in blue cheese. We all got our quirks. That's mine. I like it. It tastes awesome. But I like my pizza extra crispy. So I went to this place last week that was like, yo, New York style. The family was from New Jersey. And I don't know, like it wasn't extra crispy. I don't think the dough had a lot of flavor. Um, I think it could have been crispied up a little more. Now the place was like spot on with its cheese. Like wasn't too much cheese. It was perfect amount. And the mushrooms were fresh. So I like usually mushrooms, sometimes jalapeno on my pizza. But yeah, so mushroom, everything was fresh. I just wasn't a huge fan of how they took care of the dough. And it wasn't extra crispy enough for me, even though I asked for it and just seemed like it was regularly cooked. So I don't know if I'm going to go back again. I mean, their price was good. Like it was really good. It was like $17 for a 20 inch. Yeah, so it was a good size. But the other spot, there's the two other spots that I really like here in San Antonio, and they hit extra crispy right every time. Not burnt. I can fold my pizza. Cheese is cooked perfectly, not a lot of sauce. Like, I don't know. But to me, I think that's a good pizza, When I was a kid, my parents would always order pizza, and that was the thing. Like, hey, order extra crispy, like not burnt, But the ins and outs of pizza, like cheese, sauce is important. I don't know. Like, how do you guys like your pizza? Let me know. Hit me up. Let's talk about it because I love it. Okay, oat milk. Yeah, oat milk is weird. I just got it for the first time, but it's supposed to be healthy. Like I can't drink regular milk. I got, lactose issues that I think developed in my early 20s. So, soy milk, but I'd like the oat milk. Like you still get a source of calcium from it. And I like oats anyway. Oats and broccoli are, the common carbs that I consume on a daily basis. So oat milk is pretty tasty. It's weird. Like, I don't know. It's kind of like the consistency of it. Like it's kind of thick, but yeah, it's good. I mean, I don't know. It's just different. It's not like regular milk or like soy milk. I mean, I got one of those Insta blenders and it came with like this little kind of small bag so you can make your own oat milk. You can grind up your oats, whatever they got the recipe. I think add some water or something. Grind up the oats. You can also make almond milk. And wow, okay. My camera just died, so I apologize, guys. When you watch the video, you're not going to get the ending of it, but you won't see it, but I'll definitely hear it. Remember that studio magic? Okay. All right. So anyway, oatmeal is pretty good. I do like it. I'm probably going to make my own here soon. Try it in that Insta blender or whatever, like the Instapot. They had the Insta blender. So that's pretty dope. And then finally, nut butter. Like I absolutely love like peanut butter. I love almond butter. I liked cashew butter, but that shit was too expensive to buy all the time. In my opinion, I like the stuff called nutso, but there's a lot of benefits to, nut butters, which is why I'm bringing this up. Okay. So going on a, lower carb diet or whatnot, like, you have to give your body some type of energy source other than, yeah, okay, like I'm sure the beer I drink gives me some type of energy when I'm drinking IPAs, or obviously the pizza, I'm catching up from that on the weekends, but daily basis, working out, all that jazz, like you need you need fats. And I mean, for all the men out there, like there are studies that show the consumption of type of fats and whatnot that can affect your testosterone levels. So if your diet is fluctuating uh, too drastically with the type of fats intake, like your testosterone levels are going to go up and down, and then you're going to be in and out of depression. So I think fats are important. You know, the type of nut butter I think matters. Taste wise, like almond butter is pretty dope. And the stuff called Nutso at Costco is one of my favorites. But if you guys have ever made your own like nut butter, dude, let me know. Like I told you, I got that badass blender. I can definitely blend my own shit up. So hit me up and let me know, okay? Because I totally want to give it a shot. Like, or if you can recommend a recipe, I'll be like home ec unprotected. You know it. All right, everyone. So that is our time. Like our video has already died. We just hit the hour mark. Okay. So thank you again for tuning into The Output with me, your host, DJ Unprotected. This podcast is presented by Aztec Nation. And I'd like to invite you to check out the company's other podcast that's going on right now called Killing Time. That's TYME, which is a podcast about everything and nothing at the same time. And it releases every Monday. You can find it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all the above. All right. So anyway, guys, I hope you're picking up what we're putting out. We got a lot to say. Tune in next week. We out.